Ladies and gentlemen, reaction. This is Path of Achra. Achra, I don't know how to say. Yeah, review by channel Struggler Edition. Trademark. Obviously, this is by channel SsethTzeentach. Yeah, new Seth video. This is like Caves of Cud type game, I think, judging from the comment. And I remember Caves of Cud from SsethTzeentach. And apparently, I remember that there was like a controversy in shit as well, right? Because I don't know what the issue was. Like, I'm pretty sure Seth reviewed it good. I'm pretty sure I remember that review. But I guess he just like throws so many people at the Discord and whatever that like Deus server that they were overwhelmed or something and they just got pissed off. I don't know what that was, right? I guess Seth effect, that's what the issue was. I don't know, comment down like what was the issue there. But this is like similar genre of game, right? So judging from that, obviously it's going to be awesome. If Seth is reviewing it, it's going to be awesome. Let's do it.
Hey, struggler. Seth here. If I sound sick, I am sick. I ate rare water buffalo from Zhengzhou Wet Market, and I feel ill at ease. Hello, chud. Apply your finasteride and strap in, because I have a new hyperfixation. It's difficult to recommend a roguelike, with the full knowledge that I'm asking you to memorize keybinds for an entire keyboard and dedicate the next week of your adult life to using advanced inventory management to haul a diesel engine across town. In a game with less visual fidelity than the graphing calculator I used to cheat on my math exam. Path of Achra is not only the fastest roguelike out there.
Okay, Red Dead Redemption 2's key mapping. I don't know, it feels too much to me, right? Like you have to remember a lot of keys, and that felt too much to me. I guess I was becoming basic or something, I don't know. But yeah, games like this must be like even more insane. Like you really need to know everything.
It's also the only one that can be played by holding a single key. Similarly, you can speedrun adverts by pressing L on your keyboard.
Buenos días, amigos.
I'm currently in Mexico. Don't ask why. I've got just one small problem.
Brazilian
All of my favorite
lift.
shows are region locked. And by region locked, I of course mean watching anything other than Dragon Ball Z in my area is punishable by death due to regional licensing agreements. But if you're seeing this video, that means I didn't get caught because I use ExpressVPN and was able to get access to my sweet content from all over the globe. ExpressVPN routes all of your internet traffic through a secure encrypted tunnel, so nobody, not even
El Resplandeciente,
knows what you're up to when you go online. All it takes is one click, and now my internet traffic is a secret for me and me alone. Even ExpressVPN has no idea what I'm doing, thanks to their trusted server technology, which, if you didn't know, means they are literally incapable of storing your data. Now I'm secure. Hold on, I've got another problem. Every website is defaulting to this strange alien language I've never seen before. I brought it to the local university, and after an hour of debate between the world's most premier anthropologists, they've identified it as Spanish. It would take a lifetime of study to decide which of these myriad incomprehensible buttons are hiding the language options. A lifetime that I cannot spare. Thankfully, ExpressVPN allows you to easily spoof your location to one of over 100 countries. Just pick your location, click connect, and you're done. Much better. Right now, you can take advantage of ExpressVPN's Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer to get the absolute...
I don't know why I was expecting him to choose one of the countries that he can make joke about or something. I don't know why.
Best VPN deal you'll find all year. Find out how you can get 3 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Seth. The cartels won't wait for you, but I will. Holding tab will attack the closest enemy, pick items off the ground, and take the next exit automatically. Do not mistake this ease of entry for lack of depth, because I've played this for several dozen hours, and believe me, I don't know what I'm doing. It's very simple. You pick a race, a class, and a god. This is similar to real life, where, based on channel demographics, most of you are Albanian. Each time you kill enough enemies, your glory rises, which is this game's version of leveling up. This gives you a choice of attributes: strength, dexterity, willpower, or vigor, and gives a point to spend on powers. Powers are abilities in one of 9 elements, each with a unique playstyle. Of these, you can mix and match up to 7 powers from a total of 3 different elements. Or you can just hit random and spontaneously die because it gave you Plague Chant. Dropping enough points in certain powers fulfills requirements, allowing you to select a prestige class, which will power scale your character from good to ridiculous. Completing a dungeon takes you to the Overland, where you're given a choice of up to 3 different paths you can take.
Why would you play a game like this if you're just gonna automate things, right? Like, why even give option? I guess like they're like, fine, we'll give you option to automatically assign things. I see a lot of games are like, you wanna like level up abilities or like you want to do automatically. Who the fuck clicks on automatic? Why you play a game like that if you wanna just do automatically?
the path of Achra. These give exact information on what items you'll find and which enemies you'll encounter. Items are important for survival, and enemies are doubly important, because if you don't read the fine print of their description, you'll die without knowing that a Storm Knight ignores 90% of your defense and shreds your early tank. Everything in this game works by interacting with a set of triggers. For example, we have a Cyclops warrior.
Ooh, I love that. Whenever a game does that, it's so awesome. In smaller portion of that, Witcher 3 also does that, right? Like, think about it. Like, if you don't prepare for certain people, like what signs to use, what to do, even basic, what is it, Spirit Wraith? I think Wraith, right? Basic Wraith can fuck you up. Noon Wraith or something like that, even at the higher level. If you forgot how to fight, right? What is it called? Like that circle thing. If you don't do that, the Wraith is going to fuck you up.
Of Marduk. On attack, he deals blunt damage equal to half his current life bar to adjacent enemies. On game turn, he applies 7 poise to himself, amplified by his class special. I take points into heavyweight, which deal damage to the attacker when I shrug off the attack, meaning my armor score is higher than the enemy's hit, which is the damage of an attack that's connected because the enemy's accuracy is higher than my dodge. However, I have a shield. My shield blocks most attacks. Block takes precedence over armor, and I rarely benefit.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I don't know why I'm all like, maybe I'm changing nowadays. Like, if there's an RPG style game, I usually choose like rogue archer nowadays. But before, I was like always like warrior and knight and tank like shit. I remember playing Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't know, people didn't like that game much, but I think it was fine. But I remember like fighting a dragon at the low level, and if you're like a warrior with a shield and the certain type of like shield, like if you put up the shield and shield get attack, somehow it gives you barrier and like something like that. So my whole team was completely fucked, and I was still there like tanking fucking dragon for a long time. I know I couldn't kill it, but it was such an awesome moment, like very early levels.
This is an example of antagonistic triggers. I want to be hit, so I drop the shield. Our racial passive triggers on attack, not on hit, which means it goes off regardless if our attack actually connects. I have no natural healing, which doesn't matter because we take vigor each time glory rises, which you can automate in the bottom right. The higher my health pool, the more damage I do. So I hold tab and become catatonic for the next few minutes. Then I pump 10 points into heavyweight, which lets me take the Gallus prestige class, which deals blunt damage in a 4-tile radius each turn, and every time I shrug off an attack equivalent to my encumbrance, which is massive, by the way, resulting in me being an incredibly slow fat fuck who relies on enemies killing themselves by attacking my gigantic armor score. This is my 600-pound life, or as some might say, the ideal female form. Our god of choice, Marduk, transforms helmets we pick up to become even heavier, so we do even more damage. On the way, I managed to pick up a Maruna Sash, which makes us attack adjacent enemies on step, meaning our racial passive now triggers from simply walking up to enemies. We take the heaviest armor with the highest inflexibility, because we also found the Inu Greatsword, which, on attack per point of inflexibility, deals ice damage in a path based on encumbrance, which means every attack I do now sprays out 5 volleys of ice. Inflexibility divides speed and willpower damage bonuses, but we're incredibly obese and retarded, so we don't care. Any items that aren't needed can be burned for extra stats by mousing over them and tapping free. At this point, we stack strength, get fatter, and keep holding tab. Keep holding tab so long you win the game. Congratulations on beating Path of Achra on the first cycle of humility. Good luck on the second cycle of degradation. I used to think the 6th cycle of annihilation was bad, until I reached the 16th cycle of rupture, but now I'm at the 32nd cycle of outer dark, and time is melting. Consuming Century Egg was a poor decision. Cycles are this game's way of stress testing a build. A solid understanding of triggers will get you through the first cycle, which is the intended difficulty, but you'll need ridiculous synergy to survive ahead. Enemies are more brutal, but the trade-off is more experience, as you'll reach your prestige class before you even finish with...
Oh, okay, so they just intensive after that. It's like, it just cycles it over. Interesting. So it's just like, oh, look at that. I've beaten the game, like I saw the flaw in the game or whatever, like exploited something. There you go. Basically, like, you know, I'm Dragonborn, like I'm too powerful at this point. Nope, the game will flip that shit over you.
First 2 floors, and believe me, you're not going to survive very far without it. Glory or Death unlocks other classes, races, and gods for you to combine. It doesn't take very long. A couple successful runs are all you need to unlock every option. The only purpose of gating them is to keep new players from getting overwhelmed, and to punish me, because I didn't pay the first time, and I have to do it all over again. Tab builds are some of the most prominent, but there's another kind of gameplay.
I don't know what Seth's doing, man. He's big enough. He's like a 1.5 million subscribers, showing that just in right people could come after him or something, right? I guess he can just like show recording or something. I just did that for a joke. I already bought the game or something. I don't fucking know. But that's a risky shit.
It's called standing still. Quamar, ascetic of Fada. We put everything into Achra hunting. We remove his armor, and this is what happens when I click spacebar. He Neon Genesised across the room, very Evangelianly. Explanation: each time I stand still by hitting spacebar, Astro Hunting teleports me to the closest enemy and deals damage. And if I have no armor equipped, this also triggers on kill. Normally, after teleporting, you receive stasis, which prevents further teleportation. However, our god removes stasis on standstill, leading to a chain reaction, where each time I score a kill, I trigger Astro Hunting again and repeat the process.
What the
build
fuck?
itself is garbage. The important thing is that you have another key to press. Summon builds are self-explanatory. You fill the screen with summons.
I don't know if this is like exploit or if like intended shit, right? Like, again, I don't play games like this, so I have examples of other games. But people will say, why are you talking about these games? Well, like, this is the only example I can think of. Well, again, Dragon Age Inquisition, right? I remember playing as a rogue archer, and like abilities have cooldown, but I forgot what it was, but there's something, some abilities or some rings or whatever you find basically resets your cooldown if you kill something or something like that, right? I'm pretty sure Mass Effect Andromeda, which is basically the same type of game, same engine game, same from the same people, has a similar thing as well. So you can literally spam abilities over and over. It feels badass, but it kind of like breaks the game as well. Like you just kill everything with them moves
that do all the work for you. Viviabra, Druid of Ninhur. Your class weapon deals poison damage to the closest enemy on summon. Prestiging in Briar Mage amplifies all poison damage by the stacks of Entangle on an enemy, which you apply each time you summon. As most summons take place on entrance, you nuke the entire floor before the turn even begins. You win the game by entering a room. We've reached perfection because we're pressing no keys at all. Grove Cult fills the screen and heals you each time you summon. Grave Chant summons cadavers each time you make a kill, which propagates the feedback loop. In the event you don't win outright, Arbormancy and Overgrowth applies Entangle each time a summon attacks or is attacked. Venokinesis deals poison each time you entangle, and Dread Legion randomly steroids your forces each time they die, which are instantly replaced because we summon 2 Briarfolk, 2 Geezes, a Vine Spawn, and a Hatchling every turn. Despite dumping everything into willpower, you'll quickly reach your summon limit or simply run out of space. Star Cult applies Meditate each time you summon, which, combined with the Entangle stacks from Briar Mage and your willpower, chunks the final boss from several million to 0, the king of many colors. And I don't like any of them. In this game, there's only one active ability: prayer. Each god has free prayers which charge on different triggers.
I don't get the Spider-Man fixes. Seriously, like, I love Spider-Man just like anyone, but what is with the Spider-Man has become meme of the memes, I guess. Like, everything's Spider-Man nowadays. What is with that? Where did that start from? Like, even after like this whole Marvel phase where there are like a ton of new like superheroes that people like fixate over, somehow Spider-Man is still it, right? Because early 21st century, like, Spider-Man was the big thing because of the movies and things. But 6-7 years ago, before Marvel even started with Iron Man, I get it then, but even today it's just like Spider-Man's too hit. Why is that?
You enjoy putting your testicles in a vice grip and squeezing them until they burst like a little grape. Well, I've got just a build for you. Lokra, Priest of the Worm. The Worm is a god that corrodes every enemy on screen when they move or attack, and heals you for the stacks of corrosion under the condition that his first prayer isn't fully charged. What does it do? It pours acid on you. If enemies are still alive, it heavily corrodes your character. If enemies are dead, you nuke yourself for 300 psychic damage. It charges each time you enter a new area, so you have a choice between delayed or immediate pain. It's well worth it, and a single point in life chant outweighs the chemical burn. Status effects are incredibly dangerous conditions if allowed to stack. However, by taking points in a master power, such as Master Scorch, Freeze...
That was an Indian clip, right? Like, why are they doing that with the leaf? It's a LPG, like, it's not gonna put up like that. Oh, what the fuck?
Bleed, Entangle, or Doom, we are no longer affected and benefit from the condition instead. Sinking 20 points into Master Doom lets us prestige into Torturer. Each time we apply a harmful effect to ourselves, Torturer copies it to a random enemy according to our current stacks. Master Doom applies Doom to yourself on ally or enemy death. Priest amplifies status effects, giving us 50% more Doom. The Worm's second prayer charges on Stand Still, but we take Projection to make our prayers count as Stand Still, which means praying now charges the prayer. We make use of our infinite prayer with Necromancy, which on prayer summons cadavers. We fill the screen with trash summons for the purpose of killing them off. On ally death, they give us Doom stacks. Torturer propagates and copies our Doom stacks. When attacked, a creature takes 5 death damage per stack of Doom, which importantly doesn't have to connect. So my skeleton swipes at the enemy, misses, and nukes them for 6 million damage. Welcome to Torturer. This is one of the most mechanically complex builds with the most actions on screen. So at this point, I recommend turning on fast mode, turning off VSync, and uncapping the frame rate. It's also incredibly fragile. Early game sucks ass, and if you encounter a Firebird fun...
Why didn't you do that the first time? That just makes the game better. Why didn't you do that the first time? Right? Especially, like, my eye was starting to, like, strain just watching all these pixels, like, in jaggedy manner. If you can do that, just do that.
Priest or Edlight, you won't have to worry about any of that, because your run is over. With that in mind, here's something a little more reliable. Goblin Sorcerer of Apophis. Apophis gives strength each floor you climb, at the cost of taking 7% of your max health each time you're attacked. This is not a problem, because enemies will never reach you. 1 point in Burning Ooze, 10 points in Oozemancy, which summons a number of blobs equivalent to your skill level each time you pray. Each time you score a kill, your prayers reset, making this an infinite loop. To stop nuking your own summons, take Invigoration, Projection to make prayers count as standstill, Grove Cult to self-sustain on summon, and dump for rest into Star Cult. Anything that doesn't give meditate or trigger on summon, toss into the fire and get infinite speed because of your racial ability. Prestige into Ill Prophet and fill the screen with purple, and then punish people for standing on it. Or just go Archmagus and stack infinite meditate. Conversely, if you'd like to speedrun the game, take an Aslan of Ixshana, pray twice, and die on the second turn. In all seriousness, Varia Aslan of Eris. Aslans hate praying, and Eris hates prayer. They're perfect for each other. Eris rewards you for taking the most dangerous path by upgrading your main hand weapon so hard that it hits for 1,000,000 by the time you clear the first zone. Her prayers do nothing, but as long as they're fully charged, you become nearly invincible. Taking a lethal blow when a prayer is fully charged triggers divine intervention, preventing death and draining your charges. An apostle can exploit this by taking a god with easy charging prayers and dying repeatedly to reset his charges.
Wait a minute, this game has a lot of abilities based on, like, how it should work, right? Like divine intervention, this and that. Does this game have a lore? Like, does this have some kind of meaning, like why things are happening? Like, why would this ability work the way it works? So it's just a game, like, it's just a new game, nobody cares that much. Because I'm surprised a lot of time where, like, simplistic game, like, have some fun gameplay behind it, and I realize, wait a minute, there's a big-ass massive lore behind it. How the fuck that happened?
Pair this with Goretide for an even bigger nuke that scales with missing health. I couldn't figure this one out. Sometimes a synergy is there, but you just can't piece it together into a working build. This was the case for me with Transform builds. I tried for the longest time to make Drake form viable. Prestiging into Ogum triggers prayers on initial attack. I can't pray or receive divine intervention, but I do get to be a dragon. Then I wake up and realize Azada is a shitty god, and I could be doing this with literally anyone else. They're still interesting, and if you ever want to disappoint your deity of choice, Prestige Horror form and watch the combat log as you bleed someone for 1,000,000 damage. You receive as many stacks of Horror form as the damage you take, which uniquely goes into the several thousands. Triggering a different transformation replaces
all the images SsethTzeentach uses, right? His internet history must be disturbing, right? All that goat photo and all that thing, right? Like, how does he find these things? Do people send him that, or he just literally Google shit?
And inherits all of the previous stacks. Brood Umpuad of Humbaba. Each time we take damage, we get 1,000 stacks of Horror form. Each time we're attacked but don't take damage, we trigger our class ability and convert this into 1,000 stacks of Jackal form, which gives us approximately 3,000 speed. To put this into perspective, a game turn takes place at a speed of 5. High speed is crucial for fragile characters, and nothing is more fragile than basing your entire build on walking. On step is a lovely gimmick that doesn't work because level generation will kill you at every turn. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I am countered by a narrow corridor. That doesn't mean it's not fun. Tengu Nartaka of Tengri generates insane amounts of charge from fighting barehanded while wearing his shoulder piece. Taking Master Charge gives us speed per stack of charge, which you build up by stepping with Electromancy. Technique lets us shred enemies as we walk past them. Astrostoicism teleports away enemies whenever you're cornered, and prestiging into Elise generates even more charge. Tengri gives insane dodge per point of speed, and you'll feel like a complete god. Until something smacks you from a non-attack source and you die in a single hit. All of these builds require powers. But what if you took no powers at all? Well, if you somehow survive to Glory 20 without a single ability, you can prestige as Anroth and double all of your current stats. Volkite Warrior of Dorok. Dorok gives us poise each time we're attacked, amplified by our class passive. Volkite supplements our damage by burning nearby enemies based on the weight of our equipment. As long as we don't move, our poise tax will tank us to glory 20. Even after prestiging, we take no powers, because the Anroth perk is even stronger. If we have no powers, each time our glory rises, we heal to full and upgrade our main and offhand weapon with an extra 100 hidden block. This doesn't sound significant on its own, but bear with me. We pump nothing but strength, which after doubling by Anroth goes into the triple digits. Each point of strength increases our block by 10%. This is applied to the base value, which is continually increased by Anroth. This leads us to having a shield with more than 1,000% extra block. In the absence of powers, this entire build hinges on finding a single item.
I love how in this game basically there's so many abilities that everything feels OP. How the fuck did they manage that? Like you can be literal tank where like you take damage and like doesn't fuck you like just like that, right? You're just like heavy ass thing. And there's also ability where you can block like a knight, right? Your ability to block is insane, like the triple digit type. Like basically you get no damage because you're just blocking with your fucking shield. There are things you can just walk past them, they just die, and just like it's a loop. You can burn them. They're like how many OP abilities this game can have, man?
Larger spear, which, on attack, deals ice damage in a path to the target equal to our block. Since this number is about 300,000, we annihilate every cycle in the game, or we fail to find it because of poor RNG and this build falls apart. Success in the higher cycles is less about skill, and more of a dice roll if I actually get the items I need. In summary, there's a lot of builds out there, from berserkers that benefit from fighting completely nude, to hemogoblin summoners that win by self-harm. It's impossible to cover them all, which is what makes it so fun. Everyone finds something different. I cheesed through with a dodge stacking mesmer and theory crafted endlessly until a friend saw the game and found a better build than anything I ever made in under an hour. This game is a fusion between highbrow and higher chromosome. The best builds are either made by master theory crafters or a Down syndrome savant, and there's no in between. Many games out there are wide as a lake and deep as a puddle. Path of Achra is a kiddie pool which you drown in, and 100 hours later, I'm still sinking. It's a slimline product with gameplay first. And in terms of graphics, yeah, I guess it has color. For the Zoomers that don't have an internal monologue or the ability to visualize an apple inside their mind's eye, here's what the game looks like to the rest of us. My only critique is that the sprites are sometimes such low fidelity that I can't
Seriously, man, like our imagination is insane, right? I remember watching those like the recent video that people made with Unreal Engine 5, latest one, right? Latest version of it. And somebody made like whole realistic Whiterun from Skyrim. It looked fucking awesome. And I saw common people like, this is what we saw when we first played. Like, this is so true. If I go back and play Skyrim, I'm like, what the fuck? How bad it looks. Just walking past like first town, right? Was it Riverwood or something? Riverwood? I don't know. Just going past that and you see Whiterun, like everything is so bad looking. Textures, because draw distance is basically not there. All the ground looks insanely bad, like it's from the 90s or something. It's so horrible, man. But we remember it's like looking really epic and everything. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is, right? Like I still remember like first time I played it, it's just like, even though graphics wasn't that good, but it was good enough that it felt really immersive and fun. I remember playing Skyrim for hours and hours. Now if I played like, what the fuck is this? Even with the latest version.
Interpret what they are. The golden litter is meant to be two hobgoblins carrying gold. I thought it was a caked up demon turd with muscular legs wearing heels. Naturally, it's not for everyone, but if you're neurodivergent and your nickname at school used to be active shooter, you might enjoy this. Your only limitation is your creativity and your stubbornness to see it through. Even when it falls apart, restarting is a momentary setback on the path of Achra. In keeping with the lore of this game, my final score is don't know, don't care, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. 10 out of 10. It's $10. Go get it. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild.
That is so true. Like the type of people who go insane with this game, they don't care if they won the game. If they do, they will just restart and like restart the whole process. You just restarted the whole week of game. Like, yeah, fuck it, I'll play another week and more than that. I don't understand that level of like I don't know. I don't even know what that is, like the whole spectrum level of thing. Like, I just want to play. I can't play games like that, right? Maybe when I was a kid I could have, but I don't know. Now I think about it, just like, well, fuck that. I'm not touching that. Right, like I try to find games with more of like a substance where I can like have, like fun in certain way, not just like like stats, abilities. Let's figure out things. Let's do like whole the theoretical physics and everything just to learn how to do abilities and master this. right? There are lots of people who just like master a game at such a level. You're just seeing that like, what the fuck? If you put this kind of effort into like getting a PhD or something, I mean, you would have PhD by now. That's insane. I can't process that. But I'm guessing this is like one of those games like people just play it over and over for years and they master at a level like nobody can touch them. There you go. Alright, well, it was Path of Achra review by channel SsethTzeentach. If you like my next one, subscribe and I'll see you next time.